Good morning, Guy. We're talking today about quantum entanglement
and quantum particles.
and quantum particles. And I am chatting with Solee this morning. So welcome to our channel.
Good
Hey,
morning,
Solee.
everybody.
So, Solee, we've been talking about what happened in one area happened somewhere else.
So as far as I can gather from my little bit of reading, quantum entanglement is two particles or more than two particles that react the same over finite or infinite distances. Something that happens to one particle will happen to another. They're as if they're the same particle, although there are two of them. Now, when it comes to thoughts on consciousness or the soul, some of the current theories are that the soul is a physical thing and has its own quantum entanglement to other dimensions and realms. There's a recent bit of research saying that we may not ever actually die as a conscious being, but rather move on to another realm where the entangled particles in our mind exist in a different platform. Now, this is heaven and hell stuff as well. Like, scientists are saying it now, but really it just goes back to spirituality and that sort of thing. But I find it very interesting that science and philosophy are so closely linked now.
So that means that I'm just going back to what you said about the soul. So we're talking about other realm. We're talking about different sort of things that actually exist at the same time, though.
Yes, but they exist as the same particle. So if you think of our soul as a quantum particle, which probably all particles are, they're also existing simultaneously elsewhere right now. And when we cease to be here, we will probably simply be there, and that's where our mind will be.
So how come you have people that say that they connect to someone that's passed? So their soul is now in a different realm.
Yep.
But they still can connect to people on here.
Well, I suspect that the realms aren't as separate as we once thought they were. It goes back to my ideas about dimensions and how instead of a dimension being, a huge barrier between worlds or space between worlds, it's a very thin line that we can even accidentally walk through from time to time, probably without realizing it.
So that's what people are talking about, the veils. So
Probably.
There's different veils,
Yeah.
and at the same time, at the same place, there are multiple universes, if you like, that we are living in.
Yeah.
That are that we can actually access at the same time as well. So we don't have to die to access those other places. We actually can access them by.
I mean, in the scientific spectrum, I suspect they are thinking of them as vastly different worlds that we could never get to as physical beings. And that might be the case for where the quantum entangled consciousness of our mind exists, where the other soul particles are, might be vastly different. It might be a plane of only energy, not of physical matter.
But we can still visit it.
Well,
in the consciousness.
In your consciousness, you might be able to, and you might be able to glean knowledge and information from it. But what I was talking about with the dimensions is more of a physical planes where we walk through, because I think a lot of the other dimensions are so vastly similar to our dimension that we don't notice when we walk through them. But that's sort of a different topic from the quantum entanglement.
Okay, I know, but like we sort of chat, so it doesn't matter if we jump from subject to subject. So if we are able to walk to other dimensions as such and bring knowledge back, it also means that we can. And we're talking about time as well. Then, so those dimensions are on a different time or have their own timeline.
They have their own timeline, but most of what we walk through is so very similar in every aspect to our own that we wouldn't notice that it's different. And if we glean information from a vastly different timeline and a vastly different world, it might not actually be true here because it's a different reality. Something has changed in its timeline that makes it different. So if we get something from history or science or whatever, it might not be correct information here because something there is just a little bit different. Most of these planes would only be fractionally different. So a blade of grass fell to the left rather than to the right in its timeline, making a different world.
So that also could be why you get information, like people come with all different information about what's happening, or what used to happen, or what is happening at that moment in somewhere, and you can feel it's not right, even though people are talking about it or whatever. That's because that information is actually
It's right somewhere else.
It's somewhere, yeah,
Could
it's
well
right
be,
somewhere
yeah.
else, but not here.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the fear and things that are happening in the world can also be like this, that people are, they're running around everywhere, and people are more aware, and people are trying to wake up, and people are trying to meditate and do all sorts of stuff. So they encounter different things of themselves, of different connection with themselves at different times, and bringing up all this, like information or fears or thoughts that they had, but they actually don't connect to here.
It's actually just a slightly different world that
A different world that they walk through. Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. All right, thank you, Solee.
No
I
worries.
just thought it was a nice sort of little chat to do in the morning, and give you a different perspective on what's happening, and something to think about. I hope
Have a
you
good day,
enjoyed.
guys.
Have a good day. Woo! The stick just fell on me. Oh, good. See you soon. Bye.